In the Super Sentai franchise, being chosen as an individual to become a warrior representing righteousness isn't always a responsibility they ask for. Often, they decide to participate out of a strong sense of justice, wanting to protect society and all of humanity. That choice completely changes their lives. While the majority of people would feel proud to possess superhuman powers, among those countless individuals, there are elements who simply did not want to become heroes. This could be due to many objective reasons, and it is truly difficult for them to leave their peaceful lives to join an organization that poses a risk to their lives. So in today's video, let's explore these typical characters together. Let's get started. 1. DenziPink, Denchi Sentai Denziman, 1980. Momoi Akira is the prettiest female warrior in the group. She is a cheerful and intelligent person. Besides her talent in sports like tennis and swimming, Akira is also a skillful piano player and excellent at disguises. Although she is the member with the weakest physical strength of the five, thanks to her solid sports foundation, she fights very well with sharp reflexes and is proficient in Aikido techniques. Above all, she has a fierce spirit when it comes to defeating the Vader clan. However, few people suspect that from the beginning, Akira did not want to join Denziman. She only wanted to fulfill her own dream, to become the world's #1 tennis player so as not to disappoint the teacher who dedicated himself to teaching her. For that reason, Akira considered tennis her reason for living and could not give it up. But after witnessing her beloved teacher being murdered by the Vader clan right before her eyes, she became more aware of the mission to protect and decided to fight as a Denziman to seek revenge. 2. Yellow 4, Chodenshi Bioman, 1984. Koizumi Mika is the yellow warrior of the Bioman team. Although she is the reckless type who likes to charge forward, Mika has an extremely sharp mind and possesses the strongest will in the group, acting as a vice leader. However, due to her straightforward personality and large ego, Mika often conflicted with the leader, Go. Being underestimated simply because she is a girl, she demonstrated many superior initiatives. Mika's fighting ability is also admirable, with a solid foundation in karate along with several other martial arts. Additionally, Mika is very skilled at riding motorcycles, which is the favorite vehicle of this tomboy. The fact that Mika was chosen to become a Bioman was not a surprise factor like other warriors. It was a mission destined from her ancestors. Yet, at the start, Mika refused the path of following in her forefathers' footsteps. Instead, she held a desire to become a photographer to fulfill the dying wish of her late brother, to take photos of the natural scenery in Africa. But after being told by Peebo about the crimes of the Gear Empire and learning of the tragedy on the bioplanet, Mika's sense of justice was awakened. She decided to set aside her personal desires to become a Bioman warrior, one who would hold the destiny of the entire Earth. 3. Black Condor, Joujin Sentai Jetman, 1991. Yuki Gai is the complete opposite of the hero image. He is an outlaw with no stable job. Gai is even an arrogant playboy who always acts cool, frequently indulging in typical useless pleasures like drinking and gambling. As a lone wolf who follows the philosophy of freedom, loving freedom more than anything else, Gai hates being bound by rules. This ideal caused him to frequently clash with the leader. However, Gai is not a man without principles. He dislikes the strong bullying the weak, and is neither a coward nor one to give up easily. Whenever there is danger, Gai is the one to stand up and lead everyone, creating trust for the group to follow. In the most dead-end situations, he clearly demonstrates his indomitable spirit. This warrior's fighting style is also very unique, bearing the bold mark of street life, and he doesn't shy away from using dirty tactics to defeat enemies. The reason Gai became a Jetman was an unexpected accident. While cruising on the road, he was accidentally hit by birdonic waves, which gave him this extraordinary mission. For that reason, Gai was recruited to become a Jetman. However, this process was not easy at all, because Gai is not someone who takes orders lightly. He repeatedly refused to cooperate with the Jetmen. Not only did Gai not want to protect the Earth, but he also wanted the Earth to be destroyed sooner, pushing everything onto them without wanting to get involved. But surprisingly, Gai's actions went against those thoughts when he suddenly returned to stand by their side, becoming a warrior fighting with his own emotions. 4. AbareBlue, Bakuryu Sentai Abaranger, 2003.
Sanjo Yukito is a talented chiropractor, physical therapist, who can cure any pain for patients, but in return, they have to pay him an extremely expensive fee. Despite being at the peak of making money, few know that Yukito's past was not very smooth. When taking on the identity of an Abaranger, he had to trade many things, the biggest being time and money. When operating with the group, Yukito often speaks and acts coldly. However, in reality, he has a very kind heart. Although he is the warrior with the best defensive power, Yukito fights in a very smart way, executing attacks with precise judgment, sometimes making opponents falter. Initially, although chosen by the Bakuryu to become an Abaranger, Yukito rejected this role because it was not what he wanted to do. Since he had a profession and a very good income, there was no reason to give up that life just to perform a duty that didn't pay money and even consumed a lot of time. Nevertheless, Yukito named the price they had to pay for his companionship, $400 million within 1 year, a sky-high amount they couldn't get even in a billion years. But surprisingly, when moved by the determination of these people, Yukito did 180, changed his mind, and agreed to join them. That decision opened a new path for him, the role of a person with a mission to protect. 5. BoukenBlack, Go-Go Sentai Boukenger, 2006. Ino Masumi is the rebellious vice-captain of the Boukengers. Why is he called by such a title? It is because Masumi is inherently a person with a disobedient personality, frequently opposing and clashing with those in the group, especially the captain. He even lacks basic politeness. But Masumi is the type of person with breakthrough thinking, tactics first, questions later. Despite his anti-hero personality, Masumi has proven his ability many times. The value he brings to Boukenger is hard to understand in the manner of someone without patience. Among the 5 initial members, Masumi's latent fighting ability is the best. Even Akashi had to silently acknowledge that. Notably, he never tends to give up. Like many teammates, Masumi was originally a treasure hunter but had an unhappy childhood. That childhood formed his unruly personality. From the very beginning, Masumi's participation in Boukenger was only to exploit them to seize treasure for himself and take down the adventurer he considered the best in the world, Captain Akashi, rather than having any intention of accompanying them. However, this action immediately came with a price when he was attacked by the remnants of the Gordom civilization, but was quickly saved by Akashi on the condition that Masumi must become a Boukenger. This bound him to this mission, and he decided to place his trust in the person who trusted him. Number 6. GekiViolet, Juken Sentai GekiRanger, 2007. Fukami Go is the 4th member to appear in GekiRanger, a man who had been missing for over a decade and was presumed dead. His unexpected return became a valuable plot twist. In reality, Go is not on the same level as his teammates. Instead, he is their senior in this school of martial arts. When operating with the group, Go is very hot-tempered and strict. Although his speech and actions are cold, he actually cares deeply about his friends and is always the most level-headed person with very sharp observation skills. His attack style is similar to Muay Thai and does not require weapons. Go is truly a very strong member of the Geki team, able to defeat any opponent with just elbow and knee strikes. However, at the time of his reappearance, Go did not want to become a GekiRanger. Despite growing up in the cradle of Gekijuken, Go had no interest in justice. Because he only fought his own way, he created a martial art style for himself and developed a special type of chi called Shigeki, violet chi. It is a dangerous chi like Rinki, which caused Go to have a complex about himself for tainting his school. That is the reason he refused to join. But not long after, while repeatedly stepping in to save others, he realized his heart possessed a will for justice, and through that, Shigeki could become a righteous power. This realization brought Go back to the righteous path, joining GekiRanger as a perfect piece of the puzzle. 7. ShinkenGreen, Samurai Sentai Shinkenger, 2009. Tani Chiaki is one of the 4 retainers serving the 18th head of the Shiba clan. He is a cheerful and honest young man. Although impulsive and prone to causing trouble, Chiaki is always sincere and knows how to apologize. However, as a retainer of a clan with a samurai tradition, Chiaki is the person with the least awareness of his responsibility. Partly due to his upbringing by a careless father, perhaps he is only truly appreciated by his teammates when fighting on the battlefield.
Being a flexible, strategic thinker who comes up with effective plans to improvise, Chiaki specifically has a very tricky fighting style, unlike the typical samurai style, as he often confronts enemies by any means necessary and surprises everyone with attacks no one expects. Actually, right from the start, Chiaki had no interest in becoming a Shinkenger, or more correctly, he did not want to become a retainer for Takeru, so his joining was a reluctant necessity. This was clearly shown during the training process, as Chiaki was the one with the poorest skills, did not consider his training important, and even frequently rebelled against his superiors. However, over time, his thinking gradually shifted as he witnessed the ability and admired the position of the young lord. This made Chiaki realize his own grave responsibility, leading him to work tirelessly to hone his skills. It was that spirit of progress that led to Chiaki's tremendous growth later on.
8. Tokyu 6 Go, Russia Sentai Tokuger, 2014. Nijino Akira is the 6th member of the Tokuger team. He originated as a monster belonging to the Shadow Line army, but soon defected from the organization simply because he was moved by the beauty of a rainbow. Afterwards, Akira took on a human form and worked for the Rainbow Line organization as a track maintenance worker to make amends for his past actions. Even when he became a Tokuger, Akira was still trapped in his guilty past. He stepped into every battle with the belief that this would be the place where he would fall. Yet in everyday life, Akira is a very practical person who loves animals. All he cares about is work and protecting the rainbow. Towards other members, he often appears serious, but in many cases that stoicism only creates humorous situations. Since he was originally a monster, Akira possesses very good combat strength, mastering all punching and kicking skills, defeating enemies with a wild attack style that includes professional acrobatic moves. Initially, although Wright wholeheartedly recruited him to become a Tokuger, Akira did not easily accept because he thought he was unworthy of it. Self-doubt was something he couldn't yet overcome. This way of thinking only truly changed when Wright cleared his thoughts with heartfelt encouragement that they would fight together to protect the rainbow. That belief lit up hope for Akira, and from there, he began to live and fight according to the ideals of a righteous warrior.
9. Ookami Blue, Uchu Sentai Kyuranger, 2017. Garu is the 5th Kyuranger to be inducted. He is a wolf-like alien with a hot-tempered and impulsive personality. Although he is one of the least intelligent members of the group, Garu is the one with the most resilient spirit, overcoming all adversity to fuel his teammates, and above all, his loyalty to the team and organization is absolute. Relying on instinctual movements typical of a beastman, Garu is very skilled in combat. In this form, Garu often adopts a crouched posture, leaning forward as if ready to pounce on the enemy. However, behind that image of enthusiasm and bravery, Garu's past is full of tragedy and pain, as he is the last surviving member of his clan following the invasion of the Dark Matter Shogunate. During that time, he existed as a refugee on another planet. Obsessed with the massive loss of his homeland and comrades, Garu was immersed in despair for too long and lost his fighting will and pride. Because of this, when he first met Lucky and the Kyurangers, Garu refused to join them because he thought no one could defeat Dark Matter. The price for resistance was a painful death. However, his heart was soon persuaded by the efforts and brave spirit of those people. This transmitted an endless source of inspiration to Garu, awakening his dormant fighting will. From then on, Garu determined to rise up to avenge his homeland and overthrow the brutal rule of Dark Matter.
Number 10. Bun Orange, Bakuage Sentai, Bunboomger, 2024. Bun Genba is the orange warrior of the Bunboomger tomb. In reality, he is not an Earthling, but hails from the planet Bunki. It is a place famous for galaxy-wide online ordering services, but was invaded by the Hashirian. That event forced Genba to relocate to Earth, harboring a personal grudge. When joining Bunboomger, despite his soft and gentle demeanor, Genba's inner thoughts and emotions are very hard to predict. However, he is an excellent tactician, highly trusted by his teammates, and notably, Genba has a hobby of sucking on lollipops. This habit is also a key factor in maintaining his human form. On the battlefield, Genba is very skilled in using an axe, fighting with flexible stances and utilizing body movements to strike. Yet right from the start, Genba had no intention of fighting alongside the Bunboomgers. He refused the invitation from Taya because he was satisfied with the title of a supplier, supporting them as a collaborator and watching their progress from behind. But Genba was soon persuaded to join the group by Taya. His position would be a special seat, a necessity for the whole group to accelerate, and if Genba didn't seize the opportunity, he wouldn't be able to keep up with them. For this reason, he decided to become the fifth piece of the team, fighting for the ideal of liberating his home planet.
So above is the list I've compiled of 10 Rangers who didn't want to be Rangers. Did I miss any characters? If so, please comment below the video to let us know. And if you find this video interesting and useful, don't forget to hit subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our next videos. And now, goodbye and see you again.